Welcome to part 2 of this Football Manager 2020 experiment, where we're seeing what would happen if the world's greatest footballer ever played for San Marino. Now, if you've missed part 1, make sure you go and check it out first. We had a look at the first few years of his career. He's played for Napoli, he's played for PSG, and he's just moved to Tottenham Hotspur. And Mr. Perfect is still banging in the goals for club and country. He's got 97 goals in 61 games for San Marino now. And at Spurs, he's just finished his second season, scoring 43 goals in all competitions. They've won the Premier League for a second season in a row. And Mr. Perfect has managed to win a Champions League trophy for Tottenham. His second Champions League trophy, because of course he won it with PSG as well. But the biggest question of all is San Marino, how are they getting on? They're up to 164th in the world rankings, which is the highest they have been so far. You can see the impact that Mr. Perfect has had on his nation. They've still failed to qualify for any major competition, unfortunately. But, of course, Mr. Perfect is banging in the goals. And he is winning games for them. I mean, over the last year, they finished third in Division C of the European International League. So that wasn't the greatest, but they had a tough team in Serbia in their group. And they finished above Israel. They managed to beat them 3-2. And they beat Latvia 3-1 as well. In the last few months, they've been defeated by Wales and France in the World Cup qualification group. But they have beaten Montenegro and Gibraltar. 5 goals against Gibraltar in that one. And they're currently third in their World Cup qualifying section thing. So there's a slim chance they could qualify. It's very slim. It's very, very unlikely, but you never know. We've moved forward another year. It's June 2030. They're up to 161st in the world rankings. They've been as high as 160th as well. And unfortunately, they didn't qualify for the World Cup. I'll just show you. So they did, of course, beat Montenegro and Gibraltar. They beat Gibraltar 2-0, but they lost the other games and they ended up finishing 5th in their group. So it's highly unlikely they'll ever be able to qualify for a major competition. There's maybe a slim chance of the Euros because of going in the back door through the European International League, whatever this thing's called, I can't remember. They've got Belarus, Cyprus and Montenegro in their next International League campaign. Mr. Perfect now has 98 goals in 66 games for his country, so he's very close to 100. And he's continuing to score goals for Spurs as well, who have failed to win the league this year. Only 2 points behind Chelsea. 2 teams getting to 100 points is pretty impressive. So he's jumped forward a couple more years. It's June 2032. 121 goals in 83 games for San Marino for Mr. Perfect. He's still at Spurs. Last year, 37 goals. This year, just gone. 44 goals in all competitions. They've managed to win the last 2 titles as well. This year, look at this for a top 3. 87 points each for Spurs, Man City and Liverpool. And Arsenal only 1 point. That is remarkable. What a season. And Spurs end up winning it for a second season in a row. Conte's still in charge, by the way. But what an unbelievable season. Really good start. They had a few losses towards the end. Lost the FA Cup final. But they managed to win the league. They got to the quarter-final of the Champions League this year. Man City won the last 2. Atletico Madrid won the previous one. So he's only managed to win 2 Champions League trophies in his career so far. He'll hope for better in the future, I'm sure. He'll want to pick a few more up. He's still young. He's still only 27 years old, remember. Now, San Marino up to their highest place of 154th in the world rankings. Italy currently top, by the way. I'll have a look at the World Cups in a second. In fact, is there going to be one soon? No, 2030 is the last World Cup, I think. But here's San Marino, 905 points. They've really climbed up, haven't they, from this bottom place. They've done well overall, I would say. Most recent World Cup winners, Spain beat Italy in 2026 and Belgium beat Italy. 2 final defeats for Italy in recent years. And the Euros, let's have a look at this. So Italy won it in 2020, beating England in the final. Portugal beat Italy in 2024. Another defeat for Italy in a final, but at least they managed to win the 2020 competition. And Spain beat England. So it does look unlikely that they'll ever even reach a Euros. As you can see, European Championship qualification happened last year, 2031, and they finished down in 5th place. Finished above Gibraltar, who got 0 points. You know, they're picking up wins, 3 wins, 7-5 win. What a game this is. Mr. Perfect with 5 of the goals. They beat them 5-1 as well. 5-3 defeat against Bulgaria. Mr. Perfect didn't even score in that game. 4-6 defeat. Hat-trick for Mr. Perfect. I mean, he has just got so many goals. It's ridiculous. 121 goals for his country. It's now June 2035, so we've moved forward 3 more years. Mr. Perfect is now 30 years old, and he's got over 100 caps for San Marino now, 109 with 161 goals. Now, interestingly, he did actually retire from international duty, and I had to go on the editor, on the in-game editor. Where was it? Personal details, maybe? Yeah. I had to untick this because he had retired, I think back in November when he was 29 or something. He'd reached 99 caps and had decided to give it up. But obviously we want to carry on and see how far San Marino can go. It really is quite a remarkable goal scoring record. I know most of the goals are against weaker teams, but still, it is special. Look at this, by the way. Last 3 seasons, 26 goals in the Premier League. Obviously more goals in all competitions. 48 last year. 35 this year. Spurs still doing well. They haven't won the league every single year, but they have won it most seasons since he joined the club. And if we have a look at what they have managed to win, so they've won 4 Champions Leagues in recent years. They've won 3 in a row, thanks to Mr. Perfect. Wow, that is what has happened here. Angus, I don't really know who this team is, to be honest. They're in Ligue 1. They're a mid-table Ligue 1 team, and suddenly, look, finishing in the top 2 spots. They've won the Ligue 1 this year for the first time. What on earth has happened there? I know I've gone a bit off track here, but maybe new owners, Korean owners who are mega rich, possibly. I don't know. Let's have a look at their finances. Yeah, looks like they've got money. They've reached a Champions League final. That is just so bizarre, but it could happen. You know, if a team gets bought, you never know what can happen in football. So it's realistic to see these sorts of unusual teams reaching the final. But anyway, Spurs have won 3 Champions Leagues in a row. They've won multiple league titles, 9 in total, although only a few, 7 since Mr. Perfect joined, or maybe 5. I've lost track. I can't remember when he joined, to be honest. They've won the World Club Championship as well, and they've won the FA Cup a few times. They won the last 2. In fact, Carabao Cup, they haven't won since 2026, and I don't think Mr. Perfect was playing for them then, was he? When did he join? I've literally forgotten. Yeah, 2027-28, just after that point. But how is San Marino getting on? I hear you ask. Well, I can tell you. They're up to 141st in the world rankings. They've been as high as 140th, so they're continuing to improve thanks to all the wins that they are getting. If we go back a few seasons, this is where we left them. I think, was it? I can't remember. Anyway, they've beaten Georgia in recent years. 7-5 defeat, 7-4. I mean, they score goals because of Mr. Perfect. It's just the defence is terrible because they don't have any good players at the back. World Cup qualification, they beat Bulgaria 2-0. So they're clean sheet in that game, not bad. But then this wasn't great. 5-0, 7-0. Expected defeats, I suppose, and they failed to qualify. Then we've got the European League Division C, where they finished second, agonisingly close to getting promoted again, so that's a bit frustrating. Remember, if they win the group, they also get to go into a playoff to try and qualify for the European Championships. And now we're into European Championship qualification. They've got off to an okay start, 2 wins, beating Andorra 6-2, 4 goals from Mr. Perfect, and Azerbaijan 1-0. So they are getting the odd clean sheet here and there. Their top players include, you know, they're all regens now by this point, of course. So I don't know if maybe he's inspired a new generation of players. I would hope that's the case. Is this the top team in San Marino Academy? Maybe this is a San Marino team. I don't know. I know they're Italian, aren't they? That's a horrible colour, by the way. Look at that. That hurts my eyes. Oh, he's picked up an injury as well because his bravery's gone down. So whenever I see this, I will rectify and put it back up to 20. Not that it makes a huge amount of difference, let's be honest. Mr. Perfect is still going. He's got 255 goals in 155 games for San Marino at the age of 35. That is ridiculous. Last couple of seasons continued to bang in the goals with Spurs. They've won the most recent season. They finished second in the previous one. But look, how weird is this? No draws all season. That's quite unusual to see. He's now got staff attributes. He must have been training. He's got a national A licence. He's training to be a manager or assistant manager. That's interesting. That's good to see. I like that. So let's have a look at San Marino. How are they getting on? They're up to 127th in the world rankings, which is the highest they have ever been. Let's just scroll down and have a look to see the teams around them. So at the moment, they've got Antigua and Barbuda above them and Philippines below them. I think they could beat a lot of these teams here. They just don't ever play them. They're in Europe, so they're actually having to play some very tough teams a lot of the time. This is the manager in charge, still bloody awful. The players that he's playing with are not great either. So he's got it tough. The players he's playing with. European Championship qualification once again failing, but they finished 4th, 1 point above Latvia, so that's okay. They got 11 points, beat Moldova 2-0, Poland 3-2, and a 12-0 win against Malta with Mr. Perfect scoring 10 goals. That's nice to see. 9-0 win as well. Ah, Mr. Perfect, you are sensational in front of goal. Lithuania, they beat them recently, 4-0 against Germany, 1-0 win against Luxembourg. So, this might be the last opportunity for Mr. Perfect to try and qualify for Europe. We've got the European International League coming up, Division C once again. He's got Latvia, Moldova, and Slovakia to get past. Obviously, Slovakia is the toughest team there on paper, assuming Latvia and Moldova haven't really done much in recent years. And if they can win this, they go into a playoff. And then, obviously, if they win the playoffs, they'll qualify for Europe. This might be the last chance. And they've been close. They have been close over the years. It is doable. I think we'll see. We'll holiday another season, see if they can do it. But, Mr. Perfect, he's starting to train to be a coach. I'm imagining he's starting to think about retirement. He's 35 years old. Can he do it? No, he can't. He's missed out again. San Marino, 3 points behind Slovakia, the team I thought would win it. So harsh. So harsh for them. So this is how they got on. 1-0 win against Latvia, 2-1 win against Moldova. They beat Slovakia 1-0. Mr. Perfect didn't even score in that one. In fact, he didn't even play. He didn't play. This might be the year. I know he was playing, so he hadn't retired. He must have been injured. That is a really good win considering Mr. Perfect wasn't playing there. And then when he did play, they lost. They beat Moldova, but wow, that's interesting. And World Cup qualification has started again. They're not going to qualify from this group, are they? In a million years, unfortunately. They've lost their first 3 games. Now, I've broken the game. Oh, he's not in the national team at the moment for some reason. Still in the top players list, so he hasn't retired. I've broken the game. Mr. Perfect has broken the game, to be precise. Because remember, he had 255 goals for San Marino. He's now only got 5. And the reason for that is I think that must be the limit to how high it can go. Because if we look at the records, it shows 255 goals. That must be the upper limit. When it gets to that, it resets. So obviously he's scored 5 goals since then. So he's really on 260 goals. he's broken it. It's just, it's hilarious. Anyway, his value's gone down dramatically because obviously he's now 36 years old, but he's still the most perfect player ever. And in 375k a week, Spurs have won the most recent league title. They've won the last 2, in fact. Top goal scorer in the league again. Still absolutely beasting it. How long can he go on? Surely he's missed a chance to qualify for a major competition. Well, you never know, because he's still the same player he was. But in terms of him retiring, I'm a bit worried he's just going to give it up at any point now. Well, he's not given up yet. He's 37 years old. He's got another 5 goals for his country, so it's 265 goals. This obviously is wrong now in 169 games. Assuming this is right. I don't know if this is broken as well, to be honest. Still playing for Spurs, by the way. They've won a 3rd title in a row. San Marino, up to 125th in the world rankings, which is the highest they've been. They're just sort of floating around this point at the moment. Spain currently top of the world rankings. And in the last year, they failed to qualify for the World Cup. They beat Belarus 3-1, but that was their only win, unfortunately. A 5-0 defeat against England, 3-0 defeat as well. It could have been worse, to be fair, but they did finish bottom of the group this time around, unfortunately. And they've lost their 3 most recent friendlies as well, with Mr. Perfect getting a couple goals. Maybe, just maybe, this is the last chance. European League, Division C. We've got the Euros in a couple years, I suppose, 2044. So I imagine this would be their last chance, unless there's another European league in between. I don't know, but this is doable. Georgia, Gibraltar and Hungary. Hungary stands out as probably the better team historically. Georgia are right, but they should be beating Gibraltar comfortably. They've done well to get promoted, to be fair to them. They've done really well to get promoted to Division C. It's now June 2043. San Marino up to 121st. They've been as high as 119th as well. But how this is weird. How is Mr. Perfect not captain of San Marino? I've just noticed. They've got an 18-year-old as captain who's got 11 on leadership, where Mr. Perfect has 20. What is going on there? I have no idea. Oh, by the way, he's now up to 28 goals in his new lease of life for San Marino. Add that to the 255, remember. Let's see then. How did they get on? So, it looks good. It looks good, doesn't it? 0-0 draw against Georgia, 3-2 win against Hungary, 4-1 win against Gibraltar, 2-2 draw against Georgia, 2-0 win against Hungary, and a 4-2 win against Gibraltar. Good. However, those draws against Georgia, will they prevent them? Will that prevent them from qualifying? Let's have a look and see. Good start. They've won Division C finally. They've been promoted to Division B. But the most important thing of all is they are into a playoff to qualify for the European Championships of 2044. Fantastic stuff. Now, first of all, they do have to play the actual European Championship qualification. Unlikely to go up. However, it's not the worst group in the world, and Portugal got off to an okay start. 4 points. They're actually above Portugal, level with Belarus, or obviously a long way above Latvia and a long way behind Austria. I don't think they're going to do it this way, but there's a real chance of them qualifying. They'll be at the start of 2044, I think. There's a real chance of them qualifying via the playoffs. So we'll see how they get on. I'm going to holiday another season, and we'll see if they've done it. I'm really pleased they've managed to win this. I'm so pleased. But now they have to try and get past even tougher teams in... What's going on here? What have I done? Something's happened. It looks different. I'm not sure. What did I click on? I don't know. Oh, there we go. That's because of the... I don't really know what I did there. But yeah, now it's going to be really tough because they have to get through the playoffs. They've done it! Hallelujah! At last, San Marino have qualified for the European Championships after winning their playoffs. They beat Finland 3-2 in the semi-final. Look at this. Mr. Perfect with a hat-trick in the last 4 minutes, basically. Finland were 2-0 up until the 86th minute. We've got to watch these goals. We've got to watch the Mr. Perfect goal. This is a remarkable hat-trick. They played 1 up front, 5 at the back, and it's worked. I can't believe they've finally made it. They have finally qualified for the European Championships after all these years. Mr. Perfect is going to be... Is he 40 years old? I don't know. He might be. There he is with his bald head. Is he 40? He's going to be 40 by the end of the tournament, possibly. But this is special. 40 goals now. So he's up to 295 goals. Which is ridiculous. This was the second one then to equalise in the 88th minute. What a game. Look at the stats. Finland dominant in shots and possession. But Mr. Perfect is a special talent. And you never know when he's going to strike. This was the winning goal then in injury time. It would have gone to extra time if it wasn't for this last minute strike from Mr. Perfect. And yeah, beating the defender with his pace and strength. And finished. Interesting. Did that go in at the first? That looked like it had gone in. That was weird. Either way, he scored, and San Marino got through to the final against Iceland. Now, Finland, by the way, 96th in the world ranking, so they're not that far behind Finland. So that's a good win, but it was certainly a doable thing. Iceland, 81st, so another step up in quality. San Marino, by the way, 114th in the world rankings. It's the highest they've ever been. So they're catching up with the likes of Finland and Iceland in regards to their overall ranking. 4 goals in this game as well. So they went 1-0 up. Mr. Perfect then scored from open play and then scored a penalty and then made it 3-1. But despite... they managed to get it back to 3-2 and then a red card, and that was probably the killer blow for Iceland, and then Mr. Perfect scored it in the 95th minute. Let's watch the goals. Now, what I'm thinking... Oh, it's nice snow, by the way. What I am thinking is I just have to manage San Marino. in like a part 3 to this experiment. If you like that idea, leave a like. If you want me to manage San Marino at the European Championships, hit that like button. Let me know your thoughts. I mean, I'm thinking we're going to go for a defensive tactic like this. Mr. Perfect up front by himself and just smash the ball long over the top for him. I think that's the best way to play. Like this, basically. Knock it over the top. Mr. Perfect can do the rest. Just get the ball to him. And he's unstoppable, isn't he? So that's what I'm thinking. I just think that'd be a great way to round off this experiment. Actually manage San Marino. There's been people saying they want me to do like a proper save at some point, and I've been focusing too much on experiments. I've been doing that because they've been popular and a lot of people have been enjoying them. What a goal that is. Look at him running around everyone. So that's my thinking. So this part 2 will end here. And part 3, we will pick it up with me in charge for the first friendly, which will be against France, which is rather tough, and then Scotland in the other friendly, and then the group stage. And now the group stage, it could be worse, to be fair. Czech Republic currently 40th in the world rankings, obviously so much better. Denmark as 6th, so they're the really quality team. Denmark have done really well. They've gone up to 6th. They must have a very good generation of players. And Slovenia are 55th. We should lose every single game comfortably, but you never know. We might pick up something against Slovenia and Czech Republic and go through. I'll just show you all of the groups for this. Oh, look at this. England, Northern Ireland and Scotland in the same group. What are the chances of that? Obviously, is it a bigger competition now? Maybe not. There's only up to Group F, isn't it? 4 teams in each. Lithuania have made it through. Ireland, but we're the big shock. San Marino making it to the European Championships is special. Weirdly, the key player is not Mr. Perfect anymore. I don't know. He's not retired, has he? Obviously, I'd pull him out of retirement if that is the case. Let's just check. Let's just double check on the editor. It might be that he's set to retire very soon or something, or he's maybe picked up an injury lately and he's not in the team. Where do I go? He's not retired. I did try changing this, by the way, to 295, which should be the correct thing, but it doesn't let you because it's too high. See, it just goes back to 40. So that's broke. We've broken the game with how many goals Mr. Perfect has scored for San Marino. Spurs, by the way, still doing well, still going strong. They've won the last 5 league titles. Mr. Perfect, not top goal scorer this year for what must be the first time, to be honest. He must feature on some of the records. Most assists in a season. He's not broken Dixie Dean's record for most goals in a season, interestingly. I'll have a quick look at the awards. So, Footballer of the Year, he's won that every single year since joining Spurs. Player of the Year likewise. Oh no, one season he didn't win it. One season he was pipped to that. Team of the Year, obviously, is going to feature in that every year. Top goal scorer. So he was top goal scorer every single season, apart from when Jackie Jestin won it, and most recently Arnold Ewan for Man United. Champions League wise, he's won a few with Spurs, hasn't he? He's won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and he's also lost 2 finals in recent years. Sampdoria winning the Champions League, that's impressive. It's good to see. A bit of variety there. I like that. I imagine he's won the World Golden Ball every year. He has indeed. At the age of 39, he's still winning the World Golden Ball, the Ballon d'Or. Footballer of the Year is a bit of a mixture, as we've seen before. World Player of the Year, he's won that every year. World Team of the Year, is he in the overall best 11 now? This is broken. How is he not in this? This is ridiculous. I'm assuming it's something like, because he's playing in multiple positions, it doesn't know where to put him. But that is I don't understand how he's not in there. He's been playing in attacking midfield. I suppose that is the issue. He's just playing in so many different positions. But there we go. Oh dear, I've just realised something. I have just realised that Mr. Perfect is retiring. I hadn't noticed this. He's retiring on the 19th of June 2044, which is part of the way through the European Championships. He's not going to be selected. This is a disaster. In fact, if we look at the San Marino team, that's probably why he's not in the squad. This is the squad for the Euros. He's not in it because he's retiring. Oh my. Why? I mean, they're so typical. The one time they qualify for a damn championship and he goes and retires Mr. Perfect, what are you doing? Why? And I've just realised the other issue, I can't actually take control of San Marino anyway, because if we try to add a new manager, which obviously I can, I won't be able to select San Marino because I've forgotten to load them as a playable nation at the start of the game. Here, see, you can't see. With smaller nations, you need to load them in the custom database at the start, and I didn't. Which is why there's loads of greyed out players for San Marino, to be honest. I've had a bear. Sorry, there's not going to be a part 3. It's just not going to work. I'm going to holiday the European Championships, but they're going to be completely mutilated because they've literally not got anyone. I think the only thing I can really do, actually, is change the one real player that they have in their squad to being a perfect player. I could change the manager to being perfect, 20 on everything. Yeah, that could be an idea. That might help. And the other thing I can do is change Stefano Guidi to being an outfield perfect player. So if we import Mr. Perfect, he's all the various... Oh, I can't. It's because he's a goalkeeper. So we have to change him. Oh, I'm firefighting here. This is awful. So we need to change him to being an attacker. So we'll change him. We're basically making him into Mr. Perfect. So we'll do that. We'll then import his Mr. Perfect's thing. And here we go. We'll change his name. Okay, so we've done that. This is the best thing we can do. We've got a 9. He's basically a junior Mr. Perfect. Oh, this is so annoying. I've messed up and I apologise. Okay, I'm going to holiday the European Championships. Mr. Perfect, the real Mr. Perfect's going to retire. Secondary Mr. Perfect is now replacing him at the Euros with this bunch of greyed out nobodies who are useless. They're fairly well-rounded. If anything, having greyed out players is probably better than the real San Marino players because they just have like 2 on a lot of things and maybe one good attribute. Whereas these are well-rounded players, I suppose. Clutching at straws here. Before I simulate the European Championships, because there'll be questions about this, sort of people saying, can you edit his retirement plan? No, I can't. There's no way of doing that. The other thing I tried doing was increasing his contract to 2049. That didn't work. This is a separate save. I've gone back to the original save. I've tried all sorts of things. I also took charge of Spurs and tried to convince him not to retire by having an interaction with him. That didn't work. I tried that a few times. I've tried everything to stop Mr. Perfect from retiring. I went back to an old save, continued in the future. It just didn't work. It's like programmed in that he's going to retire on the 19th of June. So that's really frustrating. I then tried to create another Mr. Perfect, like a Mr. Perfect Junior in the San Marino youth team. Converted one of these players into a young Mr. Perfect. That didn't work either because he just wasn't selected for the first team for whatever reason. And I don't know why. So the best thing I could do really was do this, I think. In the end, my initial plan of changing this guy to being Mr. Perfect. So we're going to have to go with this. It's bloody frustrating. Matteo Milleroni, who sounds like an Italian dictator. I think we'll change him to having 20 on everything, actually. Let's do that. Let's give them a bit of a fighting chance. So here we go then. Matteo Milleroni has 20 on everything. He's a model citizen. He's got good hidden attributes. We'll see if that makes a difference. I doubt it, but we'll see. So yeah, Mr. Perfect in the team. If they don't have a real goalkeeper anymore, he's the only player that they have heading into these Euros apart from these greyed out useless players. They've got the 2 friendlies to play. I'm going to holiday until the end of the group stage and see what happens. So it wasn't to be in the end for San Marino. Everything was against them. The lowest ranked team in the competition, of course. And even with a perfect manager and a perfect player, the new Mr. Perfect, they were unable to really do anything. He did score 1 goal, but yeah, it wasn't enough. Let's just have a look then. So they lost 7-0 against France in a friendly. They lost 3-0 against Scotland. Then a 3-0 defeat against Czech Republic. A 4-0 defeat against Denmark. Mr. Perfect did get an 8.0 in that one. And then a 3-1 defeat against Slovenia. They did open the scoring with Mr. Perfect. The new Mr. Perfect, of course. Let's have a look at his 1 goal that he scored for his country then. Running onto a long ball over the top and finishing at the near post. So yeah, this is the end. This is the end of this experiment. I was hoping to obviously take charge. Maybe if I'd taken charge, it would have been a different story. Perhaps I'd have been able to instill some sort of tactic that would have miraculously have done something. But it is frustrating that we lost the real Mr. Perfect. He's become an under 19s assistant manager at Atletico Madrid. What a career he had, though. What an unbelievable career he had in football. So many goals scored, 673 league goals. But if we add up all of his goals in all competitions using this, then it's going to be pretty significant. He achieved so much for club and country. This experiment was all about his achievements for his country, really. But he still obviously achieved a lot, a significant amount for club as well. But yeah, what a legend. But that's the end. Wasn't to be. Oh, by the way, Italy won this competition on penalties. San Marino's neighbours, of course, ended up winning the Euros in 2044. So yeah, we'll end it there. Sorry for the hiccup at the end. I was hoping to do a part 3. It's probably just as well, because it would have been a bit of a disappointing part 3, let's be honest. A few people have suggested a few other ideas. For example, having a perfect spine. Of course, I did suggest maybe adding other Mr. Perfects to the San Marino team. How many would they need to actually win something? That's a possibility. I don't know. I know some people get a bit tired of these things, but there's a lot of people still watching these experiments. So I'm happy to continue doing them. But maybe I need to mix things up a bit and start a proper save at some point. But I do what I want. That's the thing. I'm not going to force myself to make stuff I don't want to make. So yeah, I'll do my own thing, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it. But thank you for watching this part 2. Until next time, enjoy FM20. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you very soon.